Welcome to another episode of the Ballinesian podcast, sponsored by Livasa Island Apparel, www.livasaislandapparel.com, or on Instagram at le_Vasa. Ballinesian podcast, someone's talking about sports, focused in on the Raiders and the Chargers NFL season, just about a quarter of the way through. Let's get into it. Forrest, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I'm doing good. Just bought I just made I don't know. It depends on how you think of it or look at it, perspective wise. I made my last, I know it's my last, at least personal buy for the year to 2025. Also, like my latest big boy purchase or grown person. I bought a Xbox X Series.
Yeah, next
One
gen.
people might say that I paid $500 for a game that you pay $60 for because
You got a you
I
got a new
basically bought it to
generation one.
pay just to play NCAA 2025. I was happy playing Call of Duty on my Xbox One, but it's an upgrade, definitely an upgrade.
Yeah,
Uh,
are you man going from the what was it, Xbox One to this one? Are there any big changes you noticed right off the bat?
the loading of everything loads so much faster. Even turning on the game, just turning
Yeah,
on the
yeah,
game, just like, from the opening screen of the game to like when you get settled in, when it pops up and you're ready to play everything, so much quicker.
quick.
Yeah. The graphics, of course. If you have you don't have to have like the best TV, but if you have the TV that accommodates like the HDMI wiring and
Mhm.
stuff like that, then yeah, the people move so much faster on screen if you're playing Call of Duty. You can see
Have
so
you
much more. It's
have you
so
got the
smooth.
Call of Duty loaded up yet?
Yeah, I had to, man.
So Call of
I had to.
Duty and NCAA.
Yeah, and then I still have I don't know what the difference is going to be, but I have the GTA 5 from the Xbox One, which supposedly still loads on
Nice.
this, so I'm gonna load
Reverse.
that up. Yeah,
When's GTA 6 coming out? Soon?
November. I don't know if it's this November or November 2025. One
Nice.
of those Novembers.
So you got a new console, a new gen
Yep,
console,
yep.
and a Raiders win, but still a bit of a mixed bag, I'm feeling, because we got some other stuff going on. We're also going to be talking about the Chargers versus the Chiefs and a bunch of injuries that happened in week 4 and how they might affect teams and our fantasy lineups. But we start with the Raiders getting a win at Allegiant Stadium versus the Cleveland Browns. Uh, or is that what we're starting with? Do you want to start with the game?
No, we can start with that. I mean, yeah,
No Davante Adams, hamstring injury. No Max
no
Crosby,
Max
ankle
Crosby,
injury.
no
Michael
Michael
Mayer
Mayer.
also out, personal
Yep.
reasons. And
O
and
line
no
banged up.
problem.
Well, I wouldn't say no problem, but it's a kind of win that you wanted to see from them after the last game they played against the Panthers, where uh they got spanked by a team who they shouldn't have got spanked by. Even if they lost, they shouldn't have lost the way they lost. I think it was a combination of them going in there overconfident, kind of just
Oh yeah,
overlooking, and then also not being prepared for Andy Dalton, and that all
and
just
Bryce Young made those guys look really bad. The Raiders were like, "Oh, these guys are garbage."
yeah. Oh, well, I won't even get into Bryce Young because I still have my beliefs of
All right,
Charlotte
my
doing
bad,
things
Bryce.
dirty. Yeah.
He can still do
But
good.
yeah, it was a good game. They did things on offense. I think they now know that Zamir White is not their starting running back.
Did not do great. What happened?
Man, he's averaging less than 5 yards a carry. Uh, I saw a crazy stat about it. I can't remember, but he didn't have no yards, man. And then they started going to Mattinson, who did great, with the touches he's gotten. He can catch a lot better out of the backfield, you know. They scored on two jet sweeps, so I mean, yeah, who needs a running back?
Yeah,
You
Zamir White 17 carries for 50 yards.
Yeah,
He got a bulk of the carries, right?
he was still their number one running back in the game. He's still running back in the
But they don't want him to be the running back anymore.
game. They
What
said
other options do you guys have?
AP did say they're changing to be coming to the running game now. So
Oh
uh, I
snap!
I think it's not. I don't know if they're necessarily gonna not start him, but they are gonna take carries away from him. So Mattinson is gonna get a lot of carries. I think either they had that kid Dylan Laube on the team that they drafted this year.
Uh,
There was a lot of talk about him. They might give him some carries now, especially receiving on the backfield. They got McAllister back there. But like I said, they scored on two jet sweeps, so I think they'll moving forward. Maybe they'll have that be part of their run game now, even though it counts as a pass. They got Tucker who can run back there. With the absence of Davante Adams on Saturday, they had DJ Turner play a lot, who's super fast, super quick, and they can get him like yards after catch, so short yardage stuff. And it kind of fits Minshew's game, just get him going, get him some short routes, short intermediate routes, just so they can get into rhythm during the game. And once they got into rhythm during the game, they look pretty good. Defensive wise, they really look good against the Browns. I mean,
they
they
didn't
had
miss
their
Max Crosby as much.
no, they did because the production they got from their D line came from a handful of guys. As to where if Max Crosby was playing, you could get
Just
all
one.
that. Yeah, just the one guy.
Wow.
So what I think it does though for them is it makes them confident more now with the guys that they have behind Max Crosby, that they can rotate guys in now and not because they were pretty worried about their rotation on the D line with Tyree Wilson when he was down, and then they lost Malcolm Kuntz for the year. So they were trying to get people in. They did sign Clavion Chason to the team. Uh, he played. He had some pretty good spots in the game, but I think everybody saw Charles Snowden on the last that last sack. I don't know if you saw. They have a clip of his parents watching the game at home,
Nice.
and he makes like the last sack. It's like what you want to see every parent. Yeah, they're screaming, jumping up and down in their living room, because that was the sack that called game for them. So pretty cool to see Snowden do that. They have him this year. He was like a threshold player. Like they didn't know whether they were going to keep him or cut him or throw him back to the practice squad. But he ends up staying on the active squad and gets a big time sack on Deshaun Watson this past Sunday, closing out the game, giving them the win pretty much. Um, Great to see, man. Great to see him out there performing. Team gave him a chance. He stayed with them, didn't have to go to another team, and he makes good on that faith that they have in him. So Christian Wilkins also big in the line. We talked about it. You don't really see Christian Wilkins' impact like on paper, but if you watch during the game, Christian Wilkins has been well worth the money that he's been paid, I think, in the offseason to come join the Raiders. So it's a great win. It's great. Deshaun Watson,
Three,
go
three
ahead.
quarterback hits by Christian Wilkins. Isaiah Polamau, 6 tackles, a sack,
Man,
a
that
pass
sack.
defense.
Like Deshaun Watson is, despite his struggles, still a good quarterback in the league. I know a lot of people don't think so right now, but he's still a good quarterback in the league. And I think the two safeties flying around all game long, Trayvon Merrick picked up an interception off a tip pass, but the two safeties were all over the field. They did some linebacker work from their spots. They did cornerback work from their spots. Of course, they did their safety work, but big credit to both safeties, Trayvon Merrick and Polamalu with his first start, getting out there and just doing what he does, being disruptive in the run game, um, making guys think twice coming across the field. He's a big hitter. He was a big hitter coming out of USC as well. So guys are really checking for him coming across the field. But I mean, at 6'4", 225, 230, that's a big dude back there as a safety. Like it gives like I don't know if you remember Taylor Mays, also out of
Yeah.
USC. He looked like he was a Roman god in a football uniform. Uh, yeah, he's a little smaller than that, but that's those are the vibes he kind of gives me. Also better in coverage than Taylor Mays because Taylor Mays is horrible in coverage.
He's just a hitter.
He was.
All right. Yeah, Deshaun Watson, 24-32, held to 176 yards, touchdown and a pick. Cleveland rushing 22 yards as a team, 22 carries for 92 yards. Okay, so some of these stats in this game I think is going to be important for fantasy too, because it's a look at what the Raiders can be without Davante Adams. Because you
Sure.
broke it in the chat. Davante Adams officially asked for a trade today. There's talk about moving him. What do you know? What's the latest, and why is this happening? Do you think has Davante Adams played his last game as a Raider?
It's possible. It's from the business side. We'll talk about this. It is possible that he's played his last game. He is sitting out with a hamstring injury, and if you guys know about hamstring injuries, it does take time to come back from. You've seen a couple of guys miss at least. What were you gonna say, man?
Do you think this hamstring injury is going to get cured as soon as he gets traded to another team?
I mean, it possibly can because it might take a little bit for him to get traded. So I mean, if it's a actual legit like hamstring injury, it takes about 2 games to heal because you got to get rid. There's no cure for a hamstring soreness other than rest. Like you can go get it massaged, you can go get it like I don't know, yeah, all the stuff that these guys do, cupping. You can use the gun that they use on it, but rest is really the best thing for a sore hamstring. And if you don't rest it, you get the possibility out there of pulling it or tearing it possibly, which just leads to
Oh,
a
gotcha.
longer
Yeah,
time
yeah.
to now. So
Worst injury possible.
yeah,
So if Devontae's asking for, and we looked up his contract, he does have 2 more years after this in Las Vegas. But
he
from like
does,
a
he does, but
contract
no
situation,
clause unless he's unless it's Christmas time. The only clause he's saying is Santa Claus because there's a no clause there. He has a
he doesn't have a no trade
there
clause.
is a no trade clause in this contract.
There
So
is?
there is not.
There
So
is not. Okay. So
if
he's
the
got to
Raiders
go
decide
wherever.
to send him to Cleveland, I mean they pretty much could, but it is a business. So if him and if him and
Damn.
the Raiders come to terms and they do decide that the trade will go through, the Raiders are going to want a good return in him because he's still arguably a top 3 receiver in the league when when he has a quarterback he's in tune
That
with.
part.
We've seen it. We've seen it.
What do you think is more likely to happen? He gets traded, Devontae has some say, and the Raiders take a loss and trade him to, someone he might want to go with, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, his best friend, you know what I'm saying? A team that also needs a wide receiver. Or the Raiders trade him to someplace really bad for Davante Adams, but they get a lot.
So I don't think they'll do him like that. Like, I don't think they'll
Okay.
trade him somewhere like
Something more fair.
right, the seller of the NFL. I don't think they'll delegate him to like the dungeon somewhere for like a big pot. It is a business that is possible.
New England. Oh, New Orleans? The Saints? Derek Carr, best friend.
Ooh.
Superdome, New Orleans.
Yeah, because Derek Carr is so great. Nothing against you, Derek Carr. But
Next to Chris Olave, you could move Rashid Shaheed to the slot. Anyways, see, a lot of these kind of hypotheticals start popping up once
right.
this trade request
But
happens and seeing
they
how
would have
fast
to
they can put
have
that together.
Olave for Adams, right?
No, like I'm saying, like you take a L and just trade them to somewhere.
Yeah, no,
So
stop it.
they give you
Stop.
like a first round pick for Davante
No,
Adams. Would you say no to a first round pick?
it had to be more than that.
What?
Yeah. I think they are if it's going to be a first round pick, it has to be like a somebody guaranteed to like be in the top 5. That's what it has to
Oh,
be.
who are those teams? Who are the really? Oh well, I guess it's too early to really
Yeah, I mean, maybe the Giants, you know,
do the Giants.
maybe the
I
Giants
mean
first round pick and
some of these teams
first round
don't do
pick and
that. The
neighbors.
Titans.
The Titans. I
You
mean,
said neighbors.
that's just the fan in me. You could possibly go Titans, and you might get uh, their first round pick from a couple years ago, who hasn't really done much there, Traylon Burks. You know, add him to the wide receiver room.
Oh, plus a pick. So
Yeah,
first
plus a
round
pick.
pick plus Trayvon Burks.
Yeah,
I mean, okay, that's not. I mean, that doesn't really. If a first round pick is in it, then I feel like just adding Trayvon Burks in that specific situation doesn't
yeah,
really get the juices going for me. But
yeah.
uh,
It'll have to
we
be a really big haul for them. I think he's more likely, like you mentioned, the two teams that he would probably decide to go. I think it's more likely they would trade him over to the Jets than to Kansas City. I don't know what team who would have Davante Adams trade him to their conference rival. Not only their conference rival, the leader of their conference, the leader of the NFL, defending champions. If Tom
yeah
Telesco trades him there, then Tom Telesco should be fired.
for like two
I don't,
second round picks from
I
the
don't
Kansas
care.
City Chiefs who are gonna
I don't,
was like
I don't
for
care.
picks 60 and
Nope, nope,
64.
nope, 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 nope.
That's not enough, right? You want it to be a first round pick, maybe multiple first round picks. I don't know if that's.
I don't care what Kansas City is offering. You do
Oh
not trade.
no,
You
I
do
don't. I
not
don't care
trade
what it is
Davante Adams to Kansas City for as
for
long
Travis
as you guys.
Kelsey. 3 tight end sets.
Ooh, Travis Kelce. No, no. That fool has. You know who has more touchdowns receiving than Kansas City or than Travis Kelsey right now?
Is it?
Jared Goff. Jared Goff has one receiving touchdown from last night. That puts him over.
Like Motown Magic.
He has more touchdowns than Travis Kelsey and Mark Andrews right now
Who
in
threw
the
that
NFL.
pass? I'm on Ross St. Brown.
And Ross St.
From?
Brown. Oh,
Let's
hey,
see.
and see while we're here now, good game, Noah. Good game. So, I was up. Oh,
Oh, your
no,
fantasy football Ballinesian league?
Noah was up 140, 139 after that, after that touchdown throw, and then he caught that last touchdown. And I went 147, 140.
Get out of here.
Crazy,
Off of
crazy.
Jared Goff's touchdown catch?
No, that put me at 139. And then the last touchdown Jared Goff threw was to St. Brown in like the last minutes of the game for no reason.
Damn. So you ended up beating him by 7 off of Amon Ross
Yes.
St. Brown.
Yeah. So
Are there any changes you would make in the league? I was thinking about doing like a 2 quarterback or a super flex. You think
I think
people would
Superflex, I
revolt?
think a Superflex would be cool. As far as like two quarterbacks, just because not too many people have a two quarterback league, and I don't know if anybody in our leagues played in one besides you. So, I mean, it'd
Yeah.
be fun. It'd be a lot of strategy. So,
It makes the quarterbacks go so much earlier.
yeah,
I
I
think
wish the
that's the main
Raiders were
difference.
playing in a two quarterback league, and then we could go get them.
Bro,
Uh,
I watched a Monday night football game with Mason Rudolph as quarterback. There definitely needs to
that
be a
one,
lot more
that one
quarterbacks.
ended up winning,
Yeah,
but
but your quarterback. Okay, so if Davante Adams is injured until he gets traded, or he's not going to play another game for the Raiders,
I
Gardner
don't think
Minshew.
I don't know if he's injured. I don't know if he's gonna stay injured till he gets traded.
So you think he could play another game like in week
I
8,
think he could. I think he could,
7?
depending on it's real fresh right now. And
Mhm.
I know people are like, can't be fresh. They've been talking about trading him for like the past 2 years. Yes, but now he actually wants to get traded. That's what's fresh in his
I'm,
mind now.
and
He
like
might
you
be
said, the hamstring needs rest. So if it happened in week
right.
4, he needs week 5 at least,
Yeah,
maybe even week 6. So, but you're saying once his hamstring heals up enough, if the Raiders haven't traded him by the deadline, he still could
yeah.
play another game for the
He's
Raiders.
still, I think he still could play. Realistically, spots that he could land. Kansas City does have a lot to offer, but I don't think
Like
business
what?
wise, they do have a bunch of picks. They do have a bunch
Oh,
of picks. So I think that's what Raiders are probably going to ultimately look for now. Because if you're trading Davante Adams, I think now you're thinking about a rebuild almost, if you're not already in a rebuild.
yeah,
So
that's the biggest piece, right? Then you just start building around your
right.
defense. You just
So
pay for
now
Christian Wilkins. You just, all
exactly. Yep.
star Max
So
Crosby.
yeah,
Get these young guys in.
yeah. Full you got Full starting up, even though Marcus Epps is pretty good, but now you have Full out there.
Kind of like a new, fresh.
right,
new coach, new
new
year,
coach, and
new
now those
teams coming
the
in
guys
and
he
everything.
has playing now are his guys now. You know what I'm saying?
Would you say Davante was a Antonio Pierce guy, or do you think Antonio Pierce like sees Davante as, oh, you're not about this Raider life. You're a superstar trying to get your money. You can leave.
I I don't think he thought of Devontae that way, but I also think that he was just like, if Devontae don't want to be here, that's fine. Let's get guys in here who want to be here.
Yeah.
Like if Devontae wants to be here, great. I would love Devontae to be here, but also I think he's one of those guys like if he senses like you don't want to be here, then you don't have to be here. He said it before.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So yeah, uh, which is cool because I mean, if we're being realistic, and I'm a realistic Raiders fan sometimes when we're not playing the Chargers, this would be good for the Raiders. Letting go of Davante Adams, and they'll get a return for it. What are you laughing, man?
I, I was thinking about this question. I was like, who ultimately wins from Davante Adams getting traded away? And I was like, I know Forrest is going to say, the Raiders. The Raiders.
They do.
I
They
know.
do. Even in the realistic world that I don't live in sometimes when we're talking about the Raiders, but the Raiders win, it won't show up right away. Devontae's not on his last leg, but he's also
Okay.
not in his prime.
Yep.
You know, he's uh he's probably got a good maybe 2, 3 years. Again, the same thing he has on the Raiders contract. That's probably what he has to play at like his highest level is maybe 2 years. Uh, he
Yeah,
plays at
maybe
a
two.
he plays at a position where it's a lot of wear and tear. He's got to run routes. He's got to get hit when he's catching. He's got to throw blocks. Davante Adams blocks. If people will say he don't, he does. Davante Adams is one of those guys who goes out there, wide receiver that goes out there and blocks. He's also a team guy when they're winning. So um, he ultimately, if he goes to a place where he can win the championship, I
Yeah.
think it's a win-win. Raiders win, he wins but the only way the Raiders really win is if they do get the draft picks that come in and are great with the team because they haven't been great with draft picks lately. So that's the way the Raiders win. Uh, Long term, short term wise, they're gonna win because they're probably already gonna get a first round pick early in the tens, 1 to 10 with the way the season is going. I see them winning like maybe 7 games. Uh,
Oh, you're saying their own pick.
yeah, their own pick, and then if they can get if they can get 2 first round picks, a quarterback and a cornerback,
Oh, geez.
whew,
Look at this.
that's
So this post said, "Don't be surprised if Davante Adams has already played his last snap with the Raiders." Michael Fabiano says, right?
yeah,
Michael Fabiano posts that. Apparently, it was liked by the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, Antonio Pierce. And then after that, when they brought it up on K Adams, he was like, I don't know exactly what that's all about. But you said he was like, I can control what I do after this. And that's when you said Davante Adams walked off and was like, okay, I'm asking for a trade.
yeah, that's
You
exactly
think
what happened.
you think that liking that post and seeing that post affected Davante's decision to kind of check out or opt out and ask to be traded?
For sure, we see guys do like childish shit, like take their team that they're playing for off their Instagram or post cryptic posts, and that's just the generation we live in now. Um, you know, Guys get hurt feelings now, especially guys like Devontae Adams been a star in the league. Of course, he's gonna have hurt feelings. Probably, and so the worst thing was everybody was saying is Antonio didn't call him and try to soothe him about it or explain.
Face to face or one to
But
one?
Antonio Pierce isn't that guy to do something like that and be like,
He's
"Hey, look,
not coddling.
no, not at all. Like I liked it. What are you gonna do?" So I mean, at this point, both sides are just like it's tough. The Raiders are losing. Davante Adams don't want to lose.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Antonio Pierce wants guys to stick it through because he has a
Yeah.
plan, and it's going to be more than just a couple games that it's going to take into effect. So a lot of
They
hands are gonna bud. So
the other thing is that contractually, of those next 2 years that Davante signed an extension for, it's like $44 million cap hit for each of
right,
those years. So putting together a 53-man roster that's only allowed like 220 million, that's a lot. That's a big chunk of how much you're getting hit.
right.
So it's likely the Raiders, kind of want to trade him, or could have cut him and just ate like dead money onto the cap. Um, who do you see fill in this role as far as like fantasy and stats? Does this like drop the floor of the of Minshew a little bit because he doesn't have like a number one like Davante?
No, because now he can spread the ball without having to have in the back of his mind that he has to feed his star receiver. And that's not a
Okay,
dig against Davante Adams because he deserves that that
recognition that number
attention.
one.
Yeah, the attention, recognition. And that could work. That could have worked for Minshew as well in fantasy because you throw it to Davante Adams. We've seen it many, many times. Good things happen. But what does, like I said, what frees up Minshew now is that he doesn't have that in the back of his head. Like he can literally just spread the ball around the field. He's got Jacoby Myers, who's a proven
Yep.
receiver in the NFL. Like he's not one of those like bottom dweller receivers. Like, oh
This
no, Jacoby
this
Myers.
this is how it was spread out. Gardner Minshew, 14 completions, 24 attempts, 130 yards. 10 targets to Jacoby Myers, 6 targets to Trey Tucker, 3 to Brock Bowers, 2 to Harrison Bryant, and then one each for DJ Turner, Alexander Madison, and Zamir White. And then Trey Tucker scored on that rushing touchdown.
Yeah, jet sweep,
And DJ Turner.
jet sweep.
Okay. And of DJ Turner and Trey Tucker, which one of those guys would you rather, like, if you had to start one of them in your flex?
Sucker.
Tucker more
Yeah,
consistent, right?
he's
And
already
Tucker got more
he
targets,
gets
yeah.
more snaps. He's been a regular like when they go through wide receiver sets. He's always the third wide receiver.
Okay. And now he's going to be probably the second wide receiver.
Second, probably yeah. They'll probably go Jacoby, Tucker, and Bowers.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out Jacoby Myers then is wide receiver one, right? Like he's going to get
Definitely.
fed. You think 10 targets is going to be kind of baseline? I've seen like Davante Adams get 12 targets a game, right? Like, is
Yeah,
it going to be around that area, double digits for Jacoby
someone's gonna
Myers?
get that. Someone's gonna get that, and it's gonna be Brock Bowers.
Oh, yeah. Dang. How did you feel about Brock Bowers this week? Only one catch for 12 yards, but he had 2 carries or 2 catches for 19 yards, but he also had a
A
12-yard rush.
well, but he also had like the definite attention of all those linebackers. So
Nice.
you
So they
know,
were focusing on him.
yeah. Michael Mayer comes back when he does. It's a personal issue, so it's not
Nice.
an injury. When he comes back, you'll you'll see a lot of 12 personnel,
Okay.
which is for people who don't understand football talk. That's a two tight end setup or formation.
With
So
round one running back, you guys don't have like a dedicated fullback.
not anymore. They've
Chargers are using a D end
to play
as our
fullback,
fullback. Yeah, he's the starting fullback, and they have hella
but that's
Greg
because he's
Roman.
gigantic.
Yeah, Scott
But
Matlock.
they've been using him though. But yeah, probably on short yardage downs they'll go. They do have a fullback, but it's not the running game of old that the Raiders used to have, where they had I mean, all the way like John Ritchie. Um, gosh, there's just there've been a lot of great fullbacks that have even what's the guy that we traded over to Miami? Um,
Ankle.
Ingold. He was good. They just have really great fullbacks. I don't know how to even pronounce his last name right, but if you read it on paper, it says Jacobson, but it's like Jakobsen. He was pretty good last year, and they've used him really well. They use him really well. Marcel Reese, when they had him there, he was like a
Yep.
hybrid
Yep.
fullback, running back, and he would gain yards. But now they moved from that, so I think they're a little bit more of a spread offense now. Um, but again, with Davante Adams gone, and if they get Michael Mayer back, it'll open up a lot of stuff for Mayer and Bauer. So look for those two guys to get some of the looks, some of the targets that
Mm.
Devontae is leaving behind. Jacoby definitely, he's a big target. He's almost the same size as actually he might be bigger than Devontae, uh, height wise at least. Uh, yeah, he's usually in the slot. That's what we saw him most of his career. But I mean, he can play boundary, so it'll be interesting to see Getsy use these guys because Getsy's been under fire since like the time he started being a coordinator in Chicago. So if he can get the offense spark, without Davante Adams and get them going, again, they don't have to be like some prolific offense, but if they show that they're at least alive in the next game, and Mattinson can provide them a decent running game, uh, I think Raiders fans should be excited. I know it's tough to be excited. You're seeing your best player on offense leave, but he wasn't your best player anymore because he didn't have the things around him to be the best player. He doesn't have the quarterback there he needs.
Mhm.
He doesn't have the offensive line there he needs. So
You're saying don't be sad.
don't be sad.
Don't be sad. It's over.
Be optimistic and
Be
be
happy it
happy about it.
happened.
And don't be mad at Devontae. Let Devontae go do what he does. I hate when people fuck that guy. Okay,
Why aren't you loyal as I am?
calm down. But yeah, I think wherever he goes, it'll be exciting to watch too. I do think the Rays will try to work with him and get into somewhere he can go, but at the same time get a good return from whatever team they decide to trade him to. So
All right, you're hoping for multiple first round picks. Realistically, what you at
realistically,
least one high
one
pick,
first
a second
round,
round pick, first round pick.
one first round, a second round, and like maybe two fourth rounds.
Do you really think that
I do
one,
because
two, and multiples? Yeah.
Devontae is still top three receiver. So if there's a team looking to win now that has that draft capital,
Mhm.
like, what are you gonna need? What are you waiting for? Why wouldn't you pull the trigger? If you have a team that can win now and all you're missing is a piece like Devontae, what are you waiting for?
Okay. If all you're missing is Davante and you do have those picks, hopefully
Right.
they pull the trigger. What is the lowest that you will allow Davante Adams to go for without being upset?
A first round pick and a cornerback.
Okay. We'll see what Tom Telesco can do. Get
Right.
that done. Make everybody
I
happy, Tom.
don't know because he didn't do much in San Diego. Looking at that team,
I mean, he did get let go. All right. Speaking of the now Los Angeles Chargers, they hosted the Chiefs at SoFi Stadium. And this one, Justin Herbert did play. We were talking about this on the preview. I was hoping, Justin Herbert sat out a game that the Chiefs were, favored to win. I think they were getting 10 points to open the week.
yeah,
But definitely, if Easton Stick or Taylor Heineke played, the Chargers would not have stuck around for as long as they did. They did get lucky early with a Carson Steele fumble and a Patrick Mahomes interception. Oh my goodness! One that led to the ACL injury of Rasheed
ooh
Rice.
man,
Um, trying to track down that interception return. Patrick Mahomes trying to tackle the guy ended up putting his shoulder into Rasheed Rice's knee. It looked terrible. Rasheed Rice was carted to the locker room. There was speculation that it was a torn ACL, but I think the latest is that the
is it a team?
extent is not confirmed.
Oh,
Right, so it's possibly just a really bad sprain and not a full tear. A tear would have meant that the season is over for Rasheed Rice, as well as probably the beginning of next season. He would need to start ramping up at that point. But regardless, Rasheed Rice is going to be out for the next couple of games.
Mahomes
Uh,
owes that man a house.
yeah, for real. In the press conference, Mahomes, the first couple of questions he had to answer were about Rasheed Rice and like, did you know that you did that to him? And he kind of looked pale. Dude looked pale and shook up, man. He's like, did you know that you like that was you that like did that? He was like, well, obviously I didn't know. I was trying to make a play. Rasheed made a great play. I don't even know what happened. So, but he looked uncomfortable, definitely, and that was the majority of the questions were about Rasheed Rice and like, hey, you
Yo,
did that. I saw a bunch of memes like Patrick Mahomes injuring Rasheed Rice to draw away from the fact that he just threw an interception is so Patrick Mahomes. I was like, so, but Rasheed Rice, I was trying to trade for him hard in all of these leagues because he's Mahomes' number one receiver. He's been
yeah,
getting like double digit targets. He's definitely got the size, athleticism, speed to put up a bunch of yards and stuff. But hopefully his recovery goes well. Hopefully it's good news on maybe it's just a sprain, and it doesn't totally derail. I feel like not
I think
only
he,
after you tear your freaking do you have to do recovery on it, but then it takes a long time for you to get back up to speed.
I think he should sit out the year regardless. I think he should just
Yeah,
take his time getting back, whether it's a sprain and God forbid it's a tear. Just take your time. Go enjoy your
yeah,
family, man.
yeah.
You'll be good.
Patrick Mahomes better be sending you all sorts of goodie baskets and freaking taking care of you. But yeah, that was a crazy play. Feel kind of bad for him. But Travis Kelce came alive instead. Moving forward, for as long as Rasheed Rice is out, who do you think on the Chiefs gets has to pick up most of that work, most of those targets? Is it going to be Kelce or somebody else that can step up?
Well, Kelsey, I mean, Kelsey gets work anyway. So like, and someone brought up a good point when I was talking about it. Kelsey is a playoff guy now. He's really that dude that can. He's still gonna be. He might not be the fantasy guy he used to be, you know, but
Mm-hmm.
he's like real football. Yeah, he's gonna come alive in the playoffs. You just got to get to the playoffs, and then like Mahomes hits a switch. But also, he has been filming. I don't know how many episodes he's been, but he's in a new TV show on Hulu called Grotesque, and that could be taking over
Rotisserie.
from football. So yeah,
Oh, Patrick Mahomes' outside life is affecting his football life.
no, Travis Kelsey.
Yeah, Travis Kelsey's
Yeah, yeah,
outside life is affecting his football
yeah,
life. The tailoredness, the
yeah. Well,
the
not
other
because
extra stuff, the commercials, the podcast.
it's not even. It's an actual TV show. It's a TV series on Hulu
No,
that
no,
he's
no. I know. Yeah, all of that.
yeah,
Plus the
yeah.
commercials he's doing, plus his podcast, plus traveling the world, plus being on concert stages.
I think he's ready for retirement, and I hope he retires like next week.
He should have retired last year with his brother, but he was
Yeah,
forced to come back and try
right,
to three-peat with Mahomes.
right.
What is the real life
Uh,
equivalent of that? Someone's like, bro, I don't even want to go. You have to come on, man. We got to set history. Come on.
right.
I don't even want to be here.
That's like Pippen crying to Jordan, like, bro, you're not even a baseball player. Come back and win one more championship because I can't do it without you. And you
You got to
proved,
come back.
yeah, I proved it when I went to uh Portland and couldn't do anything without you, and then to the Rockets again when I couldn't do anything without you. Because Pippen,
Wait, that was after, right?
huh?
That was after the Bulls, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He needed Jordan to come back one more time to game one because he couldn't win one on his own. That's my point.
Oh,
Come
it's
on,
like you
man.
already proved it when you did something in the future. All right,
But,
Justin Herbert was freaking in the game. He did okay, but he did re-aggravate his ankle injury and also
mhm,
get aggravated on the field and on the sideline.
for
Super
real,
frustrated, bro.
I
This
didn't see
guy,
that.
he was yelling at the sideline. He slammed his helmet into like the side of a bench on the
And hurt
sideline.
himself.
No, he hurt him. I think
Oh,
he got hit, tackled, rolled up a little bit. It wasn't like totally re-injury, but he was like limping at one point in the game.
bro,
So
I was cheering for you guys.
thanks. I mean, I know it's also you were cheering against the Chiefs, who
No, I
are
was
our
cheering for
rivals.
you guys. Don't say that, man.
I mean,
Come
it's
on.
easy. It's easy to cheer against anybody playing the
Don't
Chiefs.
don't cheapen my cheers, bro.
Oh, I'm saying it was double strength cheers. Cheers. Cheers
Man,
for me.
that's fun. Do you remember how uh Kurt Warner came to start
Uh,
for the Rams?
what was the guy that got injured ahead of him? Not Gus Farrow. Trent
Uh,
Edwards.
Trent. Oh my gosh.
Trent
But
Edwards.
do you know it's something like that. But do you remember how he got injured?
No. Knee? Ankle?
He was celebrating
Oh, get out of here.
and he scored a touchdown and then the wall, was it his hand? Like the padding's there, but
Mhm.
he hit the wrong part of the padding and like broke his
Broke his
hand.
hand. Wow.
And then Kurt Warner went in to start and that was history.
Greatest show on turf.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully
And Tyler
Justin
Heineke is
Herbert
about
doesn't try
to
to do that.
hey, now you guys are going to the Super Bowl now. Tyler Heineke is about to come in.
Tyler Heineke's not about to come in. The Chargers have a week 5 bye. Tyler Heineke can sit his ass there on the bench. Yo, if Justin Herbert didn't let him play this game, he's not going to let him play any game. Both offensive tackles are out, and Justin Herbert's like, yeah, freaking load me up. This guy got knocked around. Damn it, so much.
Bro, it's tough because you guys played the Chargers played a really really good game. They were also out. They were also without Derwin James. And that's crazy to think that they held him to that many points without Derwin James out there. So
right. 17-10. The only problem is the Chargers started the game 10-0 after those 2 turnovers by the Chiefs, and then, ended up going, 10-10 or 10-7 at halftime, and then, gave up 10 points. No scores
right.
in the second half. 10 quarterback hits for the Kansas City Chiefs
That's a
on
lot
Justin Herbert. That's a
for a
lot.
guy for a guy who's already hurt too. That's a
Yeah.
lot. What would you say to a Herbert Davante Adams trade?
No, Herbert's not going anywhere. What the Chargers give up for Davante Adams? Like a top 20 pick, a first round pick?
Oh, top 10 pick. What are you talking about? Get out of here.
I don't think it's gonna be top 10.
You guys are gonna draft in the top 5 anyway.
We're not. We can't. We're gonna be at least 500. So that's gonna be more like 15, 14, 15. You know what I'm
Wait, what
saying?
do you guys now? You guys are above 500 now?
Okay, Raiders. We're 2-2. The Raiders are 2-2. The Broncos are 2-2.
That's what I'm asking, man, bro.
And the Kansas City Chiefs are 4-0. So we're all
Aaron
trying.
Rodgers.
We need to work together.
How did Aaron Rodgers not win that game? That is idiot.
Yo, there were a bunch of people in Shane's survivor pool that picked the Jets to stomp on the Broncos. And that's the mistake I made last week when I picked the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to stomp on the visiting Broncos. And this freaking fool, Bo Nix, accidentally, completes enough passes to Cortland Sutton. They win the game. No, they won handily in Tampa
Yeah, they
Bay.
did.
And then they pulled this one out in New York.
With him getting his first touchdown pass of his career.
So I'm saying next week, actually, the Las Vegas Raiders have to travel to Denver to face this same team that's coming off these back-to-back wins. What
Right.
is what like position group of the Broncos are you most afraid of, and which one are you like absolutely not worried about are going to affect the Raiders in Week 5?
You know what? I can't say because I haven't really seen them play. I haven't peeked at a Broncos game. I mean,
They don't have Justin Simmons anymore. They re-signed Patrick Surtain, right? That's a big name that we know.
That's definitely a big name.
Their freaking starting middle linebacker played with a torn knee. Singleton, I think he led the team in tackles, but he's out for the year with that injury.
They still got a good running back room, so that would probably be. I'd be a little
well, at least in fantasy, those two have been underperforming. You're talking about Jaleel McLaughlin and Javonte Williams.
Yeah,
I thought Javonte Williams was going to be the next freaking Terrell Davis, man. That didn't happen. He also got a pretty big injury a couple years ago and still hasn't looked right. But any other names that stand out or that you're confident then that the Raiders would be against them?
I think we'll be able to contain Bo Nix. I think uh Max Crosby comes back. He's got a week of rest, extra week of rest. So I think with him back, with the guys playing pretty well while Max Crosby was out, I think they'll continue that coming off the bench. Because it's going to take a team effort to replace. Not that he was like super great, but Max Crosby is going to be on the other side, and they don't really trust one person alone to take over from Malcolm Cruz. So I think it's going to take a committee to fill in for that. But I'm confident enough that the Snowden out there, Wilson, they'll do a lot. Wilkins inside. I think we'll be able to contain Bo Nix because he does a lot with his feet, and that would be the worry. Like the way he gets people open is getting out of the pocket. Throws on the run. Like he was at Oregon, it was like just real quick sets, short sets, quick passes. They've done a little bit of that in Denver, but I think they're trying to trust him now. Like they're trying to get him out of the pocket. So yeah, we can
Uh,
get will be cool.
how
PSG.
many rushing yards do you think would be too much for Bo Nix, or do you expect the Raiders to hold Bo Nix to?
I expect them to hold him to like 15, maybe. That'd be great. If he gets more than like 45, that's too much. Because that
He's
that
had
means
45 once.
yeah. See, so uh, if he can break 45, that means he's doing great stuff with his legs, and it's going to give him a
Yeah,
second element. You're gonna have to worry about him running now because he's quick, he's fast, he's good with his feet.
true.
Yeah, so that'll open up a lot of stuff for. I think that's how Cortland Sutton got open this past Sunday. Was the defense was worried about Bo Nix
Up
getting
front.
out. Yeah, so they're gonna have to contain that. They're gonna have to contain that. I look forward to that. But Denver, you know what? It's like we're all rivals in the conference. Like everybody looks at each other like, oh, that's my rival. No, that's my rival. No. So anytime we play the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Broncos, it's always like a really rough and tough game. So I look forward
Yeah.
to the game. So,
Yeah, in Denver too. So hopefully the elevation doesn't, negatively affect the Raiders too much. And also, hopefully, yeah, you get Crosby back from that ankle injury. That would be good.
yeah,
And then gonna kind of see Minshew spread it around more, and hopefully double digits targets to Jacoby Myers. But this week specifically, he might be shadowed by Patrick Surtain. So maybe limit there. Maybe it's another Trey Tucker week for the Raiders and for fantasy owners. It's probably
Brock
not on
Bowers
a bit. Oh, Brock Bowers. Okay.
without
Brock
Justin
Bowers
Simmons there,
versus the backup middle linebacker for Denver.
right? Bracket like with no Justin Simmons to come across and smack him from his empty
Oh,
spot. So yeah, it's
okay.
gonna be interesting.
Sertan. Okay. We're big on Brock Bowers this week in Denver.
Yes, 2 touchdowns, 170 yards.
All right. Um, real quick, I'm gonna read before we do shout outs, I'm gonna read some of these injuries that had happened just to keep us up to date with exactly who might not be available and if you can use this information to look at the depth chart of the team and see who you need to pick up off of the waiver wire for fantasy. Um, or this might affect the team's kind of whole identity. Speaking of Micah Parsons, who had an ankle injury and was walking around in a boot as late as Monday, he is doubtful to play. Do you know who the Cowboys are going up against?
I don't. But
Uh,
also,
that
Michael,
changes their teams.
it does. Yeah. So if you were watching Michael Parsons today on his podcast, he gave an update
Oh,
on his status.
we see.
So I don't know, I didn't watch it, but if you
Oh,
did, if you did, I think it's pretty much the same that you said. I think he's doubtful for this Sunday, still in the boot. Um, but that's a big part of their defense. He's, you know, like I think you can liken him, and I'm not saying that he's as good as Patrick Mahomes as a quarterback, but his importance to the defense is just as important
it
as
starts
Mahomes'
with him.
offense. Yeah, so that's tough for their defense. They did pull out a win this past Sunday. No, they didn't. Huh? Did they win? Who they
No,
play?
they played on Thursday. They played on Thursday and
Oh,
they won
they won.
versus
Yeah,
the Giants.
yeah. So I mean, they're doing all right now. Uh, Giants is a struggling
Oh
team,
my
so
God. They
once
played
they
the
keep.
Steelers.
Oh, who's off?
The
Steelers are missing their starting tackle.
Jaden Daniels, wait, right tackle.
Yeah,
Oh, Troy Faltanu.
Joey Balton. So
Yep.
they'll be missing him.
Also, the Steelers just lost offensive guard Jaden Daniels to what looks like a serious injury. So their offensive line might be hurt. Also, to close out the Cowboys defensive line, DeMarcus Lawrence also in a walking boot. So both defensive ends for the Cowboys are out. Yeah, we had the Steelers offensive lineman James Daniels. Oh my gosh, torn ACL. Running back Cordero Patterson had an ankle injury in their game versus the Colts, and he's already filling in for Jalen Warren, who's been
Who's been
questionable
hurt?
with his own
Yeah,
injury. So
yeah.
I don't even know who's left. Najee Harris is going to be eaten just because he's the only one that can still play. The Indianapolis Colts in that game versus the Steelers lost quarterback Anthony Richardson to a hip pointer and an abdominal injury. How serious do you think that is? Do you think he's going to miss a bunch of games?
I think he'll at least miss the next game too, because
Okay.
bro,
Yeah.
those hurt.
Damn, that's pretty serious.
Yeah.
Colts running back Jonathan Taylor, mild high ankle sprain. He says he's
And
okay. Tests say he's okay, but just something to monitor. Uh, the backup running back situation there. The Chiefs, we know Rashee Rice, Juju Smith-Schuster is an option. Noah Gray, backup tight end, who they signed, might get some more targets. Kelsey, hopefully, kind of this uses this game to kind of launch his 2024 season because
hey, if
before it's been really bad.
you guys have Xavier Worthy, you might want to start him.
Oh, okay, yeah, Xavier Worthy. Oh my gosh. Okay, speaking of Isaiah Worthy, we were talking about. Okay, wait, let's close out this injury stuff. Sorry, I'm all over the place.
No, you're good.
Um,
Shaq Thompson out too for the
Shaq
season.
Thompson for the
Again,
Panthers for the season.
for the season.
Achilles tear. Saints tight end Taysom Hill was knocked out of the game after scoring 2 touchdowns. Shout out to Rick, who benched Taysom Hill for Tyler Conklin. I needed that. I only won by like 9 points. Packers wide receiver Christian Watson also had a nasty ankle
Yeah,
injury. He
yeah.
really twisted the other way. The guy was twisting his foot. He looks like he's going to be out. Definitely at least 1 week. Dontavian Wicks led the team with 13 targets. Jaden Reed obviously had a really productive game with Jordan Love back. That was looking pretty dire. Jordan Love was looking like he should have, let Malik Willis start.
Yeah.
Malik Willis 2-0 by the way this season. Jordan Love 0-2. But in the second half, he really started connecting, and they came back versus
Yeah.
the Vikings. That game started 28-0. 21-0, something like that.
21-0, 3 touchdowns by Sam Darnold.
All right, and the last 2 big injury news things for the Dolphins. Quarterback Tua Tagovailoa is checking in as symptom-free. He is eligible to come back in week 8, I think after their bye in week 7, and wants to play. So if you can get Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, now is the time, before people are like, oh, snap, they're going to be good again, because they were not good enough this weekend. I lost to Cepha by 0.164. I needed one more 7-yard catch from Tyreek Hill. That dude looked gassed as shit at the end of Monday Night Football. It was like 3rd and 11, and he was on the sideline, and I was like, Tyreek, now is the time I need you out there. It was like 4th and 10. He was on the sideline. I was like, Tyreek, I need you to catch one more pass.
Right. They didn't have no Waddle. Oh, Waddle he was nowhere to be found as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy. And also for you Christian McCaffrey fantasy owners, if you have held on to him, I have news for you. Yesterday, Kyle Shanahan was talking to reporters about bilateral Achilles tendonitis, which bilateral means it's in both legs now, right? Both of his Achilles are feeling sore or, have tendonitis. And he says, quote, we'll have a better idea of where he's at over the next few weeks. Few weeks? Are
Hey,
you kidding me? That
I just
Christian
gotta make it.
McCaffrey until mid-season?
I just gotta make it to the playoffs in my other league that I haven't been. And
Are
I'm gonna
you
hold off.
considering trading him? Could you like trade him for would you trade him for Nick Chubb? Nick Chubb starting practice again or eligible to come back to practice for the Browns this week? I think they have like 2 or 3 weeks.
Because you still gotta wait for him to knock that rust off. And by the time he knocks that rust off, CMC should be back. So
Would you trade if CMC doesn't come back until mid-season, or with this confusion around when he's going to come back? Would you trade CMC for J.K. Dobbins?
I would, I would, because
Would you?
that's production.
Okay, Zamir White.
Fuck no.
Any backup running backs that you would trade him for, like Braylon Allen or something? It would have to be like a starter.
No, Braylon Adams really good, but they still don't give him enough touches. Like I would
Yeah.
if they were giving him touches. I mean, they might now after the performance. What's his name had this past week? Brees Hall, but
Uh, Tony
yeah.
Pollard.
No, you know what? I'm not gonna speak bad on his name because he did get 19 this past. And another thing, I was projected to lose that game, and they let Pollard score that go-ahead touchdown. With 30
Oh!
seconds left. Oh, bro. The guy I was playing was hella sick. He was he was up 113, like 111. With that, you know, it all but said 99-1 he was gonna win. And then 30 seconds left, and they still ran the ball, which the Titans are ready for that. 30 seconds left, they ran the ball and Pollard
Nice.
scored. Oh man,
Man, you
crazy.
won 2 matches at the buzzer.
Oh, I was so table last night, just like, wow, I had to sacrifice the wins in fantasy for the Raiders to win. I'll take it. And then I was like, oh,
I get both. I get both.
crazy, which means I'm gonna lose every game next week.
Hopefully, keep that going. Keep that going. Yeah, Christian McCaffrey. I think it just depends on how you hear this news and if you think he's going to come back sooner or
Yeah.
later. If obviously if he comes back, in a
Also,
week,
depending on
you want to
how your
keep him.
team's doing without him. If you're doing
Right,
pretty
right,
good
right.
without him, you could just store him for a little bit.
True. If you're like 4-0, you're not too worried. Right? You're like,
Yeah.
okay, when I need him, he's going to show up
Right.
towards
But
the
if you're like,
fantasy playoffs.
you only have one win, I think you should consider trading him if someone's willing to give you a
Gotta
spot.
win now.
Yeah.
Go to the top of the league and be like, hey, you want to let Christian McCaffrey sit in your IR spot and I'll get DeAndre Swift and Chris Godwin. Okay, yeah. So that
Yep.
was surprising news to hear about Christian McCaffrey. Also, Tua wants to come back and play, and then everything else in week 4 is really crazy. But that's just how it's going. That's how it's going down. But good stuff. Raiders move up to 2-2. Chargers fall down to the Raiders or the freaking Chiefs. Raiders going to be facing the Broncos. Chargers have a bye. It doesn't feel like charging though. It's just like, oh, we got hurt, and there's some certain things that didn't go
No,
right. I didn't
it,
expect to win
it
that
doesn't
game
seem like
until I
right.
saw Justin Herbert playing, and I was like, oh, okay, we're not waving the white flag. You know what I'm saying? We're not just
Right.
using this as a talent evaluation game. We're
No.
actually trying to win this division game early in the season, even though both our freaking tackles are out, even though Joey Bosa's not playing, Derwin James is not playing, and we had a shot. But instead of charging, it was just like succumbing to the injuries and a back-to-back Super Bowl champion kind of, doing what they needed to do to get the win in a tough division game. It wasn't necessarily like losing after a 28-point lead to the freaking Jaguars or something like that.
Yeah.
So definitely still encouraging. I'm looking forward to Jesse Minter's defense, having time to really process what they saw versus Andy Reid. And trying to see where they go on from there, because the Chargers have been tackling really good and not letting too many pass them, although definitely some certain cases of missed tackles. But
Right. You know
I'm
who the
not
Chargers?
exactly sure what about the defense gets them into those situations, but I'm going to try to look it up and break it down.
Jesse Minter. You know who he should have called for a game plan to beat the Chiefs?
Connor Stallions.
No, Antonio Pierce.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Because Antonio Pierce knows how to do it.
you do.
You gotta rough him up.
That's
Let
what
us
you got
use
to
Mac.
do.
Yo, we need to beat the Chiefs together, okay?
The Mahomes.
You let us rent
Told you
Max
guys, man.
Crosby when we play the Chiefs. And we'll let you guys rent Justin Herbert when you play the Chiefs. Come on, man. Balance.
Oh, you know what? I don't know if that's a good trade.
Really?
I think
Let's
I'll
think
take my
about
chances with Minshew.
it. Oh, okay. All right. Any shout outs for this week before we head
Oh
into
man!
week 5?
Shout out to the Taekwondo High School Warriors. Who this is new to me, new to Samoa as well. They won the Shield game against the Samoan Sharks, so now they hold the uh, American Samoa High School Football Shield that teams will hold. If you guys aren't familiar with Shield games, they
I'm
have
not.
rugby. Yeah, so in American Samoa they have a shield. Uh, it's a trophy. It's a shield. You put your name on it. You hold it out for however long you can. But it's like an in-season thing. Uh,
Ooh.
it's weird. It's weird.
NBA
It's like
Cup.
yeah, it's something like that. It's something like that. But there's no tournament to get it. You just whoever has it, the next team you play, that's the shield game. And if you win it, then every game you play is pretty much a shield game. Anyway, Taekwondo won the shield this week. Played Shamwana. Man, they spanked them. It's tough. They spanked them. Yeah. So
Warriors.
go Warriors. Also, I didn't have a shout out, but I had a grievance to pick. I was listening to the Patreon the other day, and you guys had picked people to play 3-on-3 against, and I wasn't picked. It hurt my feelings, man.
Wait,
So
to play against,
yeah,
you would be on our team.
no.
You're gonna go.
I gotta play against one of you guys, man.
Who are your
We're all
two?
we're all in the same physical in the same physical realm, man. Come on, man. I mean,
What other two people are gonna be there? Oh, these guys were like, yo, okay, Big Body Cisco versus Lance.
I
Hold
saw that.
on.
Yes,
Why we gotta go all the way up to Big Body Cisco? And then it was who was it?
Toss
Squad Breezy versus Seth
Seth and Tossy 1K versus
versus Marcus.
that'd be a good game. That'd be entertaining. I'd come to watch that. I'd come to watch it.
It's one game to 21. What do you think is the final score?
Uh,
Win by 2.
win by two. I don't think anybody gets to 21. I think too, I think I think too many people are going to get injured during the game just by running up and down the court or along the court. I think the game ends at a
Oh, it's
6-6.
half court, right?
It doesn't matter to us. Half court, full court. Again, we are all in the physical realm together. Same physical realm.
The game ends at halftime and we go to a buffet.
Yes, that's exactly what I was going to say. Ends at 6-6, and everybody decides to go to a buffet to eat it out there. So, pause.
Uh,
Yeah.
shout out to our sponsor, Lavasa Island Apparel. Shout out to Brother Uri out there in Modesto, California. Definitely tap in with what they got going on the Instagram at le_Vasa. I got that one of one tie dye posted collection. The posted collection,
It's so
that's
nice.
so dope.
It
That's a
looks
just
so good, man.
so vintage, freaking, and like just so representative. Like I'd be
Yeah,
able to just put that on. That's
yeah.
such a cool collection. But also, yeah, check out the website livasaislandapparel.com. Shout out to and rest in peace to Dikembe Mutombo.
Ooh, Pete
Uh,
Rose.
and Pete Rose passed away yesterday. That's crazy. Favorite Dikembe Mutombo moment?
Oh man, it's not a good light. I'm a tumble, but is when Jordan dunked on him baseline and then tried to
All
finger.
right, rest in peace, Dikembe.
Sorry, but yeah, if I have a favorite
My
moment,
favorite?
thing, is anytime he went to play against Alonzo Mourning was one of my favorite memories for Dikembe.
Nice.
They were
Always a
really
big fight, good fight,
always a
good
good fight.
battle.
Uh, they had so much respect for each other too because they're both Georgetown alumni or Georgetown
Nice.
alum. So yeah, they would go at it, and there was a time where like centers really played their back to the basket. Like they had, don't get me wrong, they could play ball, but what they were expected to do was put their back to the basket, rebound, tip
Mhm.
ins, just dominate inside defensively. And those two were really good at what they did. Alonzo Mourning had a nice little jumper though compared to Mutombo. So yeah, shout out to Mutombo, man. Yeah, that's a tough loss for uh
No,
and
no, no.
yeah, that's a tough loss for NBA Africa and NBA in general. Because he was
Oh, the first global ambassador of the NBA.
yep, yeah. So
Nice.
his voice
Definitely a
was
good.
and again, shout out to Pete Rose's family because that's tough. A lifetime ban. Can't get into the Hall of Fame. He was one of the best
Mhm.
hitters ever. Became one of the best managers ever too. While at Cincinnati.
Do you think
So
Pete Rose someday makes it into the Hall of Fame, baseball Hall of Fame?
no, I don't because people who well maybe if it changes, but a lot of people who are involved in like the Hall of Fame for baseball or baseball in general think of
Mhm.
Minnesota as like purists. They think they're better than everybody. So they hold on to things like
As
that.
they place their same game parlays each night.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
There's so much. There's actually like legal legislation in America now coming down the pipes trying to limit the amount of advertising you can do for uh
That's
gambling or sports books because it's so prevalent. Like every podcast is sponsored by a sport book.
and you know
Every
what?
TV channel has a segment for
Once they figure out how
viewers.
to monetize that as well, how if when the government figures out how they can make money off of that, it'll be okay. Trust me.
They're already making money. They're already taking taxes off of it. But I mean, now there are like helplines. Now there's like so prevalent that it's like
It's so funny.
call 1
Anytime you
800 Gambler or in New York, call 1 800 Set
yeah,
Limits in Canada. Call 1 800.
it's so fun. Even when you're at like a casino and you hear they'll have like ads over the speakers in there, and then right
Yeah.
after it says, if you have a problem, please call. So, yeah,
Someone
so,
just cashed in a $20,000 jackpot.
yeah.
If you need help,
If you need help,
if that made you feel some type of way, we're sorry. No, that's all just liability. We
um,
tried to tell them that services
right.
were available as we shine the lights in their faces and ding, 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 ding. Doesn't this sound so fun? Couldn't this be you? I think about it all the time. I want to go to the casino. You want to
Hey,
meet halfway?
I might have to go after this.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry. Yeah, hey,
I'm
call the
right down
helpline.
the road,
Call
man.
the helpline. Good stuff. Appreciate you for being on, brother. Thank you to everybody for listening.
Hell yeah.
This has been another episode of the Ballinesian podcast, and we'll definitely be back next week with another breakdown and updates from week 5 in the NFL and what's going on around the news. Yeah, someone's talking about sports. See you guys next week. Stay hydrated, stay blessed, stay balling, love and light. Peace. Then out.